Hi guys, Reaper here. Thanks for tuning in. Here to talk to you about the Megathron, a Tech 9 battleship from the Galante Federation. This thing looks like a giant space plow. I've always been a fan of this skin and model. What you're seeing right now is the customizable skin, not the standard skin. Titanium looks pretty good. In this video, we're going to cover a few things. We're going to look at the ship fitting of this for PvE specifically speaking. Can also double up for PvP, I suppose. We're going to look at the snub nose railguns as well as the rifled railguns for longer range. This is the standard skin. Still looks pretty good. If we have a look at the description of the traits here, you can see we've got a 5% bonus to the large rail activation time per level of large railgun operation, as well as a tracking speed bonus, which is really, really nice, and a 5% bonus to the inertia modifier. So you are getting into warp faster and you are increasing your speed and velocity using your afterburner, i.e. you're reaching your maximum speed faster. DPS isn't so bad. At 1839 DPS with the tracking bonuses, that will work quite nicely. Looking at the ship's defense, we've got 94,853 effective hit points with just 22,937 shield hit points, 27,253 armor. Interestingly, when we compare the two, we've got a lot more armor than shield, so in any other circumstance this would always be an armor tanking ship, and I am going to be able to, at 27,000 structure as well, the cap is stable. Crucially, I'm going to prove to you that the shield tank on this ship, and probably every ship, is better than armor tanking. Armor tanking is really underpowered. The scan res is only 148mm, which is appalling, and I am literally an oil tanker here at 348 meters for my sig radius. My navigation is also lower than the Tempest and the Typhoon, which I've covered previously, so this is certainly the larger and slower of all of the ships. For this particular fitting, I've gone with the snub nose railguns. As I've mentioned, we're going to test both of them. As you can see, I've got a very short range here, 9km optimal, with just a small 13.5km accuracy fall off. So this is very much an in-your-face, up-close and personal brawling machine. In my mid-slots, I've got a Predator Stasis Webifier, I've got the Republic Fleet Target Painter, and I've got the Federation or Caldari Navy Warp Scrambler. I also have two Mark 9 Ogres. As mentioned before, these should be unlocking fairly soon on the market for some extra bang, extra DPS. For the purpose of this and testing out the armor fit compared to the shield fit, we'll look at the armor fit first. I've got one C-type large armor repairer, which is boosting quite a lot, but over a longer amount of time. The biggest letdown are the armor hardeners. As you can see, only 21% across the board, which is a lot lower than the shield adaptives, 16% lower, which is going to have a massive effect. And then we've got the reactive. So my armor to shield tank are going to be identical. They're going to both take 4 different slots. I've got the C-type large afterburner, and I've got the large capacitor battery, which is non-negotiable. We really need this as we don't have a large Nosferatu in the mids. That's for the cap. Optimal DPS, same for most battleships. It's going to be 2 reload or activation time rigs and 1 damage rig, and then 3 times CCC rigs Tech 3. So all of the things on this ship are readily available on the market. So I've undocked here in space, and I'm going to activate my armor hardeners. We're going to pull up the ship fitting overview, and we're going to go to the defense. So you can see on here, guys, we've got 120,627 effective hit points. Looking at the resistances, they're quite bad actually. You've got good EM and thermals, so perhaps armor tanking if you're going for a MAR, but the other two are quite a letdown, and it seems I've got none over 80%, little bit lackluster. So yeah, that's a bit of a concern, and I'm going to now swap this out for the shield. One thing I'll say is that when using the shield, you are going to be using more capacitor than an armor repairer. That's one of the drawbacks. However, this ship can be cap stable using the cap battery, despite what it says on the fitting. If I put the afterburner back in, you'll see, sorry, that's the micro warp drive. So let's put the afterburner in. You will see 7 minutes and 24 seconds running everything. That's not taking into consideration the cap battery, so that's going to make that more like 15, maybe even cap stable. Plus, if we also bear in mind we do not need to run the afterburner consistently. I mean, look right there. I've activated the shield hardeners and we're up. How much is that? That's 16,000 EHP. The resists are looking so much better. I mean, we're in the 80s for 2 and over 70s for 1, whereas with the armor tank, some of the resistances were down as low as 50. So it just goes to show, guys, that whatever you're going to do out there, do make sure you're shield tanking everything. Absolutely, shield tank everything. It will do better because it is better. And hopefully armor repairing and armor tanking in general is going to be more viable, or kind of more of an equal option in many ways. Again, at lower skills, I think with less skills, the armor tanking can come into its own perhaps a bit more because it's using less capacitor. But in a battleship, you've got so much cap, you don't really need to worry anyway. So, I've warped into a mission here, Tech 10. It's a news mission on expert mode. So, effectively, this is like running a sweet poison or something quite similar. As you can see, I've got a ship micro warp driving around me. He's moving super fast, so I am still locking him as it goes. He's an interceptor. I've got him locked. We're going to put all 3 bits of tackle on him now. You'll see him slow right down. Give it a few seconds. So, shot my first volley. That was a complete miss, but he's still slowing. Second volley, really quick actually. I got a massive hit of damage on him there. He is kind of in a tight orbit now, so I might do some more missing. But it's really, really simple. If you find you're missing and you've got all your tackle on, just do this. Look away in the same way he's moving. Tap on space like so. You will then move in the same direction as the frigate, and there you go, volley, and he's down. Now these other ships should go down pretty fast, and yep, so a one shot just there. Quite impressed with that damage. And what I'm going to do now is try and have all of my modules going and online, just to demonstrate that not having that Nosferatu isn't a major problem. And even if I swap out to a more cap thirsty shield tank, I can run everything. I think it will be probably longer than I'm going to demonstrate in this video. Maybe so long that it's almost going to be cap stable. But that does require you keeping an eye on the battery and every 60 seconds tapping it to turn it on. So yeah, you can see we're doing some pretty cool damage to these ships. I really like the tracking speed. You've got a tracking speed of 11, which is pretty much the same as my, or even, yeah, I'd say around the same as my Macarial, and this is not a faction ship. So if you're looking for a ship that is big and tanky and can go and do encounters that requires you to get up close and tank, then yeah, this might be the ship for you. So I'm going to just apply some damage to this Maelstrom just to show you a bit more of what it can do, and then we're going to swap the fit out and put in some rifled railguns and see how this ship does for range. It's of my opinion that this ship will be better suited to be a brawler, and if you're looking for a sniper, this might not be the ship for you. And I believe using strike cannons with something like the Tempest is going to do the job a hell of a lot better and at a further range. Also, a noticeable mention is that railguns have predominantly kinetic damage with a small amount of thermal, whereas cannons have lots of thermal, small amount of kinetic, and lots of explosive. So I would imagine they're a better damage type against, or being a more general all-round type of pilot and what you're able to attack. Good against the shield, good against armor, whereas the railguns are okay against shield and not the best against armor. So in this quest for me to try and figure out which battleship I want to purchase other than my Macarial, this is making it more and more difficult for me. I thought this would simplify it because all the ships are very different in different ways. There is no real standout, this is a better ship, this does everything better. They all serve and fulfill different purposes for different play styles. I do like the ship because of the tracking, and if you are wanting to do some storyline missions and just farm for some ISK, you'll be able to sit up, face tank everything, and hit things really well, and not have to worry about being locked down and perhaps tackled too much. So there's a second wave here that's spawned now, and yeah, we kind of get the idea of what this ship can do using the snub nose railguns, and I think it's time we move on and take a look at, you can see here we've got a ship, a frigate, going super fast, and he is in a very, very fast orbit, so I've got a full tackle on him. I'm actually moving it in a singular direction this time, and as you can see, with that amazing tracking, given I do have max skills, 5 for everything, you know, you're going to be a little bit under this, maybe take off 10-15% if you're looking at 4-4 and 4-4 skills for all of your hybrids. But that's all relative across all of the ships I'm covering in this battleship series of videos. It's going to still give you a idea of which path you want to go down, which suits your playstyle more. So moving on, let's take a look at the rifle railguns. I'm currently on way to a mission, so whilst we're warping into this mission at around 80 kilometers, let's pull up the fitting and see which subtle changes I've made. 1,357 DPS, so we've taken a step back there. 56 kilometer optimal with a 33 kilometer fall off. Now, 56 optimal is very, very close. So for this fit, I've gone with 2 tracking computers. I've kept everything else the same. I've put in 2 target painters. The reason for that is I can't take off all of the tankers. 50 kilometers is still very, very close. This is hardly going to be AFK work. But with the fall off, we could sit back at 80 and apply a lot less DPS, but I'm not sure why you're really going to ever want to do that in a ship like this when there's a lot of other ships that will do the job but a lot better. So it is of my opinion that this ship might not be for everybody. If you're looking for something that's versatile as both a brawler and a sniper and does both jobs better, you might want to look at Minmatar way. But if you're a massive fan of this ship in general and you're quite happy to do a lot of brawling, you might want to stick to this ship. So we've got these targets locked down now. First, we're going to apply, once we've got lock, there we go, get the target painters going, and then fire a volley. So we've one-shot that frigate at a pretty decent range. Now, this other frigate's coming in close, and you can see he's moving to the side a bit, so we're going to miss, I think. Yep, a little tiny bit of damage there. We'll get a tracking computer on and make sure the tank's running. Let's see if we got him down there in another one-shot. So the damage isn't bad. We are looking at large numbers because this is a battleship, but again, against some of the bigger targets, I think we're going to struggle. It's going to take quite a while to get them down. We don't really have space to put any magnetic stabilizers on here because we need the tank still, again, because of the closer range. Not for all missions. For these easier missions, I think you could probably go all out, but I'm basing this on the fact that we're perhaps going into something like Sweet Poison, Bad Hair Day, Friends by Blood, and we're doing something harder. So this is how I would fit for those particular scenarios, which, let's face it, is the bread and butter of what most people flying a battleship are going to be using it for. Righty, so I think you guys probably have seen enough, and I think that the ship is an overall good ship. It's fast to get to warp, only 8 seconds, so if you're doing a lot of travelling around, if you're doing encounter missions and you just want to go in fast and take out the smaller ships, it could be a good ship. It's certainly one to consider. If you're looking to get in a Vindicator but can't quite afford that just yet, this will be a great ship to have as a stepping stone. Quite an expensive stepping stone, but it will certainly see you all the way through being able to save that ISK to get the ship. So I think we've covered everything here, guys, and I hope you tune in for my next one. If you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, and I very much appreciate you watching. Thanks very much.